My name is Zaki. I work on a lot of different projects. Cosmos is one of them. Sommelier is another project that I'm working on. Yeah, it's sort of I am a multi-project person.
When did you become a crypto protocol developer?
It was a process that started in 2013 when I started trying to figure out how Bitcoin worked and understand Bitcoin. So that was the beginning of my protocol development journey. And then in 2015 and 2016, I was part of a group of people who were sort of speculating on what scalable, high performance blockchains would be used for if in a world where lots of people would be. So Jay Kwan, Dominic Williams, Vitalik, Vlad, all of these people were, this part of my sort of social circle of people we were speculating on sort of blockchain architectures and blockchain designs. Started then 2017, a lot of this stuff got funded, and so I started getting very involved in shipping this stuff, and then shipped a whole bunch of stuff 2018, 2019, 2020, just keep shipping.
What's your hope for the future of humanity and this technology that you're building?
I believe that humanity, there's a tweet thread going around about how all other freedom sort of rests on the freedom to transact. If you want freedom of speech, you want individual autonomy, you fundamentally need access to transactional infrastructure. And I really believe that sort of making settlement a settlement system that is community owned and widely available to every person, machine, use case, is a huge enabler of human liberty.
What's the state of human liberty with crypto in the world?
The state of human liberty is a lot better with crypto in the world than it would be in the world without crypto. I think there is an enormous you are starting to see the financial panopticon. The financial panopticon and its ability to you see China, for instance, with their social credit system, really leveraging the financial panopticon and the ability to cut people or restrict people's access to the ability to transact as an incredibly powerful and cheap form of social control. It's what every authoritarian state has always wanted, the ability to just without having to use a lot of violence, control very large populations. And blockchains are the only countervailing force to this.
Can you elaborate on them being the only countervailing force?
So, in a world of where you have centralized, controlled settlement systems, what people don't realize is how much of their lives depend on the system of record. The system of record is what determines whether or not you have a mortgage, whether or not your mortgage gets paid, who securitizes it. It would be very difficult to live if you were cut off from access to that system of record system. And from sort of 2000, 9/11 onwards, all of the Western democracies have imposed greater and greater controls for both foreign policy reasons like sanctions and sort of domestic reasons like supposed purported anti-money laundering. They have imposed more and more controls that allow them to frequently, without any sort of judge or due process, cut people off from this system of record. And it is the most concerning thing. And what blockchains are is a community-driven system of record that allows, that is much harder to actually cut someone off from. So therefore, there has to be much more process and much more engagement with society. You can't just quietly do sort of put someone's name on a list and be okay, now no one can transact.
Did stay-at-home orders have an effect on the growth of crypto?
So the social impacts of crypto, this is, 2015, I started working with various people about what would blockchains be like if people actually wanted to use them at scale. And then we built a lot of stuff, and 2018, 2019, started shipping like the components of systems like this, Tendermint, Cosmos, but like lots of other systems. But then like the pandemic, I think, moved that entire timeline and like up by like 5 to 10 years. Because people before the pandemic, I think myself included, sort of did think of their like physical life and their physical like life friendships, their like real life friendships and their real life activities as like more important than what was happening digitally. And the pandemic constrained people's sort of physical life interactions so much that people needed digital interactions, and blockchains provided that, and has like created this like, but I view it as like a one-way door. Like society has now changed, and I think blockchains will be a big part of society going forward.
The metaverse. There's a lot of kind of dystopic fantasies about what the metaverse could become, and I was
Sure.
thinking, maybe there should be 7.5 billion metaverses. What are your thoughts on the metaverse?
So first thing I would say is like, I understand the world of like like basic blockchain protocol design. I understand the world of DeFi. I wouldn't say that like I fully understand the appeal of the metaverse. Like I own some NFTs, and I like certainly like willing to like experiment and play around with this stuff, especially when it like sort of interacts with Cosmos and other other protocol stuff that I've been very excited about. But I guess the other piece is, I think you do see how like some notion of ownership makes digital experiences much more compelling. I think the most important question is always that the settlement layer should not be under anyone's control. And I think it's important that like the other thing about having like scalable blockchains is that you don't want to create a world in which like valuable transactions are settled on like one system, and like low value transactions are settled on another system. Ideally, what we want is a secure settlement layer that like everything from the trivial to the profound like can be settled on, connected with, interacted with.
What existential threats face crypto?
What existential threats face crypto? It's an interesting question. I mean, I think that crypto continues bad, misguided, uncertain policy continues to be a big threat. Like governments are a big threat to crypto. Governments could also play a role in reining in the worst excesses of crypto. So I'm not sitting here trying to argue for like that like governments shouldn't exist. I'm trying to argue that, or like society shouldn't self-regulate in some way, and like individual sovereignty should trump everything else. But misuse of government and like misunderstanding of like what crypto is a huge threat from like powerful nation states is frankly a huge threat to crypto.
Crypto minarchy. Is that a thing yet? You know what minarchy is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. So ETH2, what are your thoughts on scaling?
So I think the Cosmos vision is like independent sovereign systems that are part of an economy with each other. The ETH vision is more like, the ETH2 vision is an empire of, that is like starts with Ethereum stakers and builds this like sort of, and so, the cross-chain versus multi-chain blog post that Vitalik had made. So I have always been like, I'm a believer that like the multi-chain sovereign interconnected system vision that we see like blossoming around us at this conference is a good vision for crypto. I don't think that like, ETH2 or ETH maximalism is the right answer. On the other hand, I do feel like the technical design that Ethereum, like, I don't know, I've been talking about ETH2 with Vitalik for 6 years, 7 years, something like that, like a really long time. And I do think that the like design that they're working for, but I think is a good one, and will benefit the ecosystem and ETH holders. But I think the short-term expansion of the ecosystem will be a combination of people trying out the technical approach of ETH2, and like there being problems and bugs and system failures, and the Internet of Blockchain vision of Cosmos sort of occurring in parallel.
Thoughts on Bitcoin?
Thoughts on Bitcoin? I have complex feelings about Bitcoin. I don't think that the like amount of energy that is being consumed by like executing proof of work, the like current Bitcoin proof of work, is great for society. I don't think that means that proof of work doesn't have a place. I worry a lot that like Bitcoiners have lost so much. I worry a lot that Bitcoiners have lost their like spirit of like experimentation and interaction. Like I feel like in like of the crypto user base, like Bitcoiners are actually the least likely to use like new protocols, new systems, all that stuff, and sort of that conservatism worries me. But I am also incredibly grateful for like Bitcoin, its go-to-market, all of the things that it has inspired. I think that there is. So those are my thoughts.
Where can people find Cosmos and you?
Where you can find me is on Twitter mostly, at ZMANIAN. And at Cosmos is a great place to follow the Cosmos ecosystem. But the Cosmos ecosystem is ever expanding and ever becoming more complex.
Any other shout outs?
No, I don't think so. But people follow me online, they'll see all the different things I'm up to.
Thank you.